afternoon, and welcome to the December 15th, 2021 EEAC. That's our Energy and Environmental Advisory Committee. This is our last meeting of 2021, and it's kind of a wrap-up meeting and a little bit of a celebration of sorts, as this was always the meeting that we might have some Christmas cookies and some goodies, and we're going to partake in that in a safe manner today. And so thank you for those that provided some of those goodies. I'd like to recognize today Chris Tenay. Chris Tenay is our new communications director. Chris will be has joined us now. This is his second week. Chris is working with Phyllis Ely as Phyllis gets ready to retire, along with a few other folks from the town. I wanted to welcome Chris, and Chris will be a part of this team moving forward, as Phyllis had in the past. And the benefit there is that all the good work or anything that we need to announce, Chris will be part of that, have the benefit of hearing the discussion, and then be able to push that out to our residents, whether that be press releases, website information fed into the website, social media, and things like that. So, Chris, welcome, and appreciate you being here. And I would like to recognize Phyllis. Phyllis and I go way back, even before the town of Penfield days, that we had an opportunity to interface, and we wish her well on the next chapter of painting and retirement and enjoying family. So all good. So welcome to Chris, and congratulations to Phyllis overall. So let's jump in and give everybody a little bit of an update as to where we are. And I'll first recognize Sarah. As everyone knows, Sarah has done a wonderful job of helping the town coordinate the CCA program. I mean, there have been a few others, but Sarah has been our point person to do that. And I think it was the 8th, I don't want to steal her thunder, but I think it was the 8th of December was our cutoff date for opting in, opting out, so to speak, for CCA, Community Choice Aggregation. And with that, I'm going to recognize Sarah to give us a kind of a little snapshot of where we are, how it's going, any questions or comments for the committee, and we'll do a little wrap-up of that very important program that is probably about 2 years in the making.
Great. So we have had the program launch. That December 8th date was the due date for any opt-outs or opt-ins prior to the program launching, because that launch date is effective as of the December 15th billing cycle, which is today. So anybody that still wants to opt out or opt in to the program still can, but that will not be effective until the next billing cycle, just because of the time it takes for RG&E to put in that effort, and that's okay. If you'd like, I can go over some information based on the website that we got.
That'd be great. Thank you.
So for the Good Energy website, and these aren't final numbers because we don't have any from Constellation yet, but from Good Energy, there were 133 calls in, and those were ranging from residents that wanted to know more about the program, wanted to opt out of the program, or were quite confused from the RG&E robocall that went out, just because it was a little cryptic and they wanted more information. 6 residents did want info on the program because they did not get a letter, but they were ineligible for the program for one of the 3 reasons of having a block on their account, being part of an ESCO, or being on low to moderate income plan with RG&E. So those are the only reasons that someone would not be considered eligible in the town of Penfield. Of the entire program, there's approximately 13,600 residents that are eligible, and 861 of those have opted out. And then there were about 23 residents that tried to opt out but were already not enrolled, and they're ineligible, and that was the reasoning. We did get a number of calls at the town hall, and all of those, or the majority of those, ended by a happy resident that had more information. There were a few residents that were not thrilled that the town was creating the program. But by the end of the conversations, they did understand what the process was and that the town vetted this program and did all of our due diligence. So overall, I think that the program's going well. It will end in December 2023, so that is that 2-year time frame. And we may have an opportunity before that to re-up the program, put out a new RFP, things like that if the town so chooses. But for now, we're kind of in a sitting cycle. And if residents have questions, we're happy to answer them, and so is Good Energy.
Okay, great, Sarah, thank you. Questions for Sarah about the program?
So that looks like a opt-out rate of like 6.3%. Is that pretty typical from what they would expect?
That I am not aware of at this point. The numbers just came in today, so we haven't had a chance to go through what's regular, what's not, that kind of thing. I do know that for opt-out programs, there is generally a fair number that opt out at the beginning, and then after some number of months, some residents will realize what they did not with the letters that were sent out and the postcards that were sent out of being in the program, and also take an action then. Oh, and a number I did not touch on, there were 40 opt-ins or opt-ups. So those are people that wanted more green energy or were not eligible, did all of their due diligence to become eligible, and have opted in.
Right, excellent, excellent. Yeah. So hopefully over time, maybe we might see that number go up a little bit. Yeah. Also over time, maybe some of those folks that opted out may see the benefit of opting back in.
And that's not unusual either.
Which is not unusual, yep. And it seems like 6 to 7%. I was anticipating, and this was with no really data that I had other than just kind of a gut feel. I thought that we would have about 10% opt out, so 6 to 7. I think that's good, and then I hope a few others, once they see the benefit, will come back. And it seems like the numbers are going or are increasing. So as we watch the 3-month average and we take a look at the 12-month average, as that refreshes each month, it'll give us an opportunity to see how that continues to play out.
And we will continue to have Good Energy update those numbers on the Penfield CCA website. They will do that monthly.
Excellent, excellent. That's great.
Something I didn't mention.
Yeah.
We did have an endorsement from Color Penfield Green for the CCA program. One of their members actually wrote a blog article and compared pricing and what the cost is if you wanted to opt up or something similar for a year and what that difference is. And that was highly regarded, and we actually included that on the Penfield CCA website so that residents would have that as an example to compare their own costs.
Excellent.
It was very well timed.
It was. Yes. She did a great job.
Yeah. I know that at the same time, the Democrat and Chronicle had run an article about Rochester's program, which was not good timing for us because they included a fee that went to the municipality, and I think that really got some residents very concerned quickly that we were doing a money-making opportunity off of this.
Right. And I think, we did get a couple of calls. I fielded a couple of calls with that. I know Sarah did as well. And we made it very clear that this was not something where the town was making any money. They were not receiving a fee. I'm a bit shocked that the city of Rochester elected to go that route. They have a population that the benefit of a CCA would be to try to stabilize, manage costs, and maybe even lower costs, and to tack on a fee to residents just seemed like a very inappropriate thing to do, my words. So I'm glad that Penfield did what they did, and that was something that we wanted to do all along. Again, stability of pricing, lower pricing if possible, and take advantage or leverage the opportunity with more people into a program. So I'm going to be cautiously optimistic that we will see the benefits of that over these next 2 years. And I think one of the next things that this committee might want to take a look at as we get through this initial program here, should we look at natural gas as maybe the next step as well. So I'm sure more to come on that. But Sarah, thank you for that update. I'd also like to take an opportunity to recognize Good Energy. I am copied in on the correspondence that goes back and forth between Sarah and Good Energy, John Berg and team. And I will tell you, they are very quick to respond. If they don't have an answer, they tell you, we don't have the answer, we'll get back to you, and they do. And so I want to give a shout out to Good Energy because they have been very good partners with us thus far. And they have taken the time to come and spend time with the town board on a couple of occasions just to make sure that the town board's questions were answered through this. So I want to just recognize and give them a shout out for their due diligence, their willingness, and participation in communication. Thus far, it's been great. So we'll keep up that great work. Okay. Other questions for Sarah? All right, Sarah, again, thank you. And for those watching this is taped and will be available for our residents to watch. But keep an eye on the website, www.penfieldcca.com, not .org, but .com. And you'll be able to follow on a monthly basis anything new that not only pricing, but other information. So stay tuned to that. Put it in your shortcuts and just take a look at that on a regular basis. All right, Sarah, thank you. Let's move on to CEC and an update regarding anything new from our friends from Genesee Finger Lakes, as well as now we've got a couple of courses that have been completed. And as I understand it, we've got a couple of other courses that they're looking to put in place. So I'm going to, again, recognize, I think, Sarah, because I think she stayed the closest to this overall. So you are the star of the show.
So for the courses that have taken place and will be coming, those are part of community campaigns. That's one of the high impact actions that the towns can take. And these are for electric vehicles is one, and the other one is home heating and cooling and energy efficiency. So there were two courses back in October, and Color Penfield Green has been working with the town to put those on with both my department as well as Penn Rec. And they're both through DARE and the adult education classes. I believe that's correct.
Dear.
Sorry, thanks. The ones that are coming up will be in January, February, and April. They'll be kind of just new and improved ones of the same classes. Basically, we went through teaching some classes and learned how to do better. Those are very much primarily ran by Color Penfield Green, working with us. And Heat Smart is actually one of the town's partners for the clean energy or clean heating and cooling class. And Heat Smart, will be sending out a flyer this month to Penfield residents to notify them about the class so that if they're interested, they can sign up for it, sign up at Penn Rec. But that should be going out, I would expect, in the next week or so.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yep.
So if everyone remembers, or a reminder that some of these programs help us work towards, as Sarah indicated, work towards getting our points that then will make it available for grant funding. And that's the goal, that any grant funding that we get, we can bring into the town, bring into the sustainability program with the idea of taking good things that we're doing and any new things that we're doing and make them better or grow them to a degree. So that'll be very positive if we're able to bring in some of those dollars and cents.
And specifically, these two classes, if we get final approval after they've been completed and have a sufficient number of participants, then the town can get $5,000 grants for each class towards our sustainable efforts. And those can be something along the lines of putting in an EV charging station or similar.
All right.
Something else with CEC, we did get approved for our Unified Energy Code classes that our building department took.
Right.
I didn't know if you had that in another group section.
I did not.
Okay.
So
that we did get approved for. That was one of the lower point values, but it is still a very important one of having that education and having our building department moving forward with that.
And we hosted one of those classes here, and I know most, if not all, of our building zoning, code enforcement, fire marshal team did attend that. So
Yep.
great opportunity. Hold it in our own backyard and bring in a number of folks. So that was great.
So we're already on our way.
Okay, great. Questions for Sarah? I think that was kind of one of those things, and I know Sinette had a lot of interest in that as we were moving forward to, work towards that effort, and so I think we're well on our way, and we'll keep going along. I think this is a great time. This is a great time to mention that when we put the 2022 budget together. The budget was put together, and Marie, who is our supervisor-elect and will take over the office January 1st, Marie was part of that whole budget effort. So this wasn't, I like to refer to it, it wasn't my budget to the town board, it was our budget that we brought to the town board and to our residents. And the key there was that I wanted to make sure that Marie felt comfortable with what we were bringing forward, and that she wasn't inheriting something that she was going to have to deal with or not be able to deal with. And one of the things that Marie had an interest in was a position of sustainability engineer. And so that was put into the budget. That was reviewed by the town board. That budget was adopted. So the 2022 budget includes a sustainability engineer. And I think that will be key, for this effort with the EEAC. And I think that that was a good move. And that position will report in through Planning Engineering Director, Mr. Valentine, who is on or off camera. I'm not quite sure at this point, but it'll fall under his his department, and I think that will be a great move in 22 and beyond. So I think that was important to just share with the committee so they were aware of that. All right, anything else, Sarah, on that?
Not at this time.
All right, great, thank you. Other questions, CEC, folks? All right, we have the Monroe County Water Authority as our next item, the solar project update. They have been actively working over on Watson Hurlburt Road, kind of right almost on the county line. And this is a pretty good size project that they're working on. And I've been by there a couple of times and to see the progress. And I just thought it would be good if we had any kind of a general update as to what's going on. So let's stay on camera with Sarah and maybe give us an update with where that is, what's going on, and kind of how close they might be to flicking the switch, so to speak.
Sure. So they have installed all of the solar panels and the structures at this point. We do not currently have a start date, and by that I mean when basically the energy will start going to RG&E. But Mark Valentine did email the Monroe County Water Authority, who owns that property and owns the project, about when that start date will be. So hopefully in the near future we'll get an actual day. But they have also installed all of the plantings and buffering, and it's really coming together.
Great, great. So this is the third major project that we have in the town of Penfield. Sinet Cavaliers is the fourth major project that we have in the town. So we have the smallest system, which the town has adjacent to our DPW facility. The County of Monroe has one adjacent to the former Gloria Drive landfill, which is a bit bigger than ours by a couple of times over. And then the Water Authority is our largest thus far, and all three of those, the power generated for those three come back to the respective municipalities or agencies to help offset cost in the town of Penfield, across the County of Monroe, and then across the Water Authority. So all of that is a benefit to all of our residents in some way, shape, or form. So great efforts. Sinet's benefits her electric vehicle and some of her household operations.
I'm sure other houses have bigger ones than we have.
So that's great news. It'll be good to see that on, and definitely help pushing some additional power to the grid overall.
Absolutely.
So okay. All right, questions on Monroe County Water Authority? Good to see that finally up and running, or soon to be up and running. So that's a good project. All right, streetlight project. I wanted to give everyone an update on that. As you may or may not have recall, the town board hired a contractor to go through and check all of our streetlights. And we have completed that effort. So what we're intending on doing was to identify those streetlights that we're paying for. Those streetlights that we should not be paying for, that our friends from RG&E might try to push our way, and then some of those that are just hanging out there, and to make sure that they come under the appropriate umbrella. So that effort has been completed. It was either on Friday or Monday of this week we were to have all of the pricing and the data associated with that. And the idea there is that with the data that we get, we know how many units that we have. We know how many units are of what type. We do have a small number that are LED. We do have most or many of them are the high-pressure sodium units, and then the proposal would be what it would take to convert all of our streetlights to LED lights. And as part of that program, one of the discussions that the town board had early on was the technology that on each one of the poles that could tell if a light was out, that would send a message in. If the pole were damaged either by wind or got hit by a car or something like that. So if it got to a certain angle of tilt, we would get a message on that. And it was a way for us to be able to react a little bit sooner to power outages, poles down, and things like that, so we could replace and update. And then to give us a sense of if we do make the conversion to LED, whether we do that in a year, 2 years, or 3 years, and that's something the board will be reviewing and deciding that what is our savings going to be during that time, either at a third, 2/3, or full build out overall. So I want to recognize Jim Kreckman, who is part of our facilities group, who has been working with Eric Tate to coordinate that, our DPW director, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the data shows, and then how quick we might be able to start the program. And I know the town board was looking to do some funding here over the next several years to make that project happen. Any grants that we get and any other assistance that we get will only help speed that program up overall. So that's kind of where we stand right now, and I'm going to be delighted to see that happen. If you go around the town in different areas where we're not replacing street lights that have either blown or we've had problems with, we're now replacing them with the LED. And if you take a look at that, much lower profile, better light source, not impacting drivers as they're driving per se, but definitely lighting up the area and making it a lot more visible, a lot more safe. And so when the program is done, I think it will be a real asset to the community overall. And a plug for the town that Penfield was the first town in this area to acquire their streetlights from RG&E, which helped lower our cost. We have been very active in looking to try to maintain them and manage those to help manage our costs. And with the LED, we'll have the opportunity to once again lower our costs. So I think a win-win as we take a look at that for our residents. So, questions? I'll do my best to answer those, but anyone that you stump me, I'll get to Mr. Kreckman for the real answer.
Less of a question and just an item of note. That program is something that can qualify towards the clean energy communities
Correct.
as well.
Yeah, great point, Sarah. Thank you for that.
Does the inventory itself, is that one of the segments, or is it once we get to the replacement phase?
I don't remember the breakdown, but that's definitely something we can look into.
I was thinking that even the inventory had value.
Yeah, I think you're right, Sinette. I believe there is that piece of it. That might be the smaller piece of that, but still just knowing what you have and, being able to identify and address and what have you. So I think this program thus far has been very valuable because I think Jim Kreckman has come back a couple of times to me and to say that this has been even more valuable than what he had anticipated overall, which is good. And it's given us some good data to go back to our friends at RG&E to say, hey, we've picked up some things for you, and how do we make that right, and what have you. So, okay. All right, let's take a moment. Shadow Pines in the Clark House, while it's not directly, it does have some indirect interest within Energy Environmental Advisory Committee. So let's start with Shadow Pines in general. So right now, there are three aspects of that we're working on. In addition to doing some general mowing of our trails so that folks can walk. If we ever get any snow this year, that folks can cross-country ski. The high school did hold a number of cross-country races there this year, and they will also look to host some cross-country ski races or competitions at that location if and when we do get some measurable snow. Additionally, there was a group that came together, worked with the town, and they cut in an 18-hole disc golf course. So right now, I would say it's about 85% complete. There are some areas that they need to shrink down, some areas they need to make some adjustment to. They had a tournament that brought in about 160 people to that site over a 2-day period. So there were beginners, intermediates, and what I'll call experts or professionals that played that course. And they're currently working with the town to bring in a little bit more revenue to build out tee boxes and some other things. They have requested that the town purchase and acquire the baskets for that, and so there is some discussion that is going on between that group and the town board right now. But I would say that during the course of this winter, you'll see people playing because, as I understand it, it is a 12-month sport that folks like to play. And I've seen some folks out there throwing discs, even in somewhat lousy weather conditions, but it doesn't seem to bother them, and they're out there. So that is well underway. We're currently working with a group on pickleball courts on the northeast corner of the property of the former Front 9. And the board last Wednesday agreed to move forward with a 15-court layout and some associated other amenities that go with that. And so that will track as as we head into next year. And then the third component on the former back nine has been biking, some mountain biking, some general biking, some biking for those residents that may have some disabilities. We had about 6 or 7 groups that came together to offer up thoughts and ideas as to what we could do for biking at that area. And so that'll be the third component. And then basically the rest of the property will be open for hiking, for bird watching, for animal watching, for butterfly watching, and everything like that. And the goal by the town board was to make sure that we offered the broadest amount of activities there, from our youngest residents to our most senior residents overall. So that's how the general property is shaping up. As it relates to the Clark House, the town board did meet with the engineers last Wednesday to get some information back on that. The board asked for to clean up a little bit of the data, which hopefully we will have by the end of this week or early next week, and then that information will be placed on the website for everybody to view. And it kind of highlights what they did as part of their study: mold, asbestos, dry rot, termite damage, that type of thing at the Clark House. And they came back with 3 possible recommendations as to what could be done there, and that includes different phasing for rehabbing the whole thing, rehabbing part of it, or basically tearing down and replicating. So that level of detail will be on the website as well. So that's a project that has been very involved. It was not one of those easy, we'll take a look at it and come up with a report. That has been rather involved, and I want to thank Eric Tate, who has worked on that very closely with the engineers on that. And I would expect the town board will look to address what their next steps are early in 2022. So, questions, comments on Shadow Pines, Clark House? All right.
I know we had received an email talking about some destruction of butterfly habitat. So, and then you mentioned that you kind of feel like the remaining wild space, that there's enough of an area there. Has anybody talked about doing something actually dedicated to generating more butterfly-friendly habitat?
So there has been some initial conversation, Sinette. One of the things that some folks raised is that we did some mowing, and what the experts will tell you is that every so often you need to mow, and the concern was that a mowing would destroy everything. But if you talk to Cornell Cooperative Extension and others, there's a certain amount of mowing that you have to do. Not every week, not every month, maybe on an annual basis, but there is some mowing that has to be done. But the site is 212 acres, if we take a look at the pickleball, I think the discussion was there was about a 20-acre. If you take a look at parking and layout and things like that, there was about a 20 to 25-acre usage there. Disc golf kind of wanders through the front nine, but it still can cohabitate with trails and other activities there. And then the back nine is only a small area that's being used for biking, and the rest is basically hiking trails and fields and different things like that. So I think all of those can coexist, together as we go through. So I know that that'll be something that'll be more broadly discussed as well, and more information put up on the website.
Okay, good.
So, yeah. Thank you for that reminder about those couple of letters that came in that I think Mr. Valentine, who's off camera, may have shared with us. All right, other questions on Clark House, Shadow Pines? All right. Items of interest.
I had one.
Things we should take a look at, and
Just something of note that came up with the EV classes. The city of Rochester actually worked with a couple groups and started a flow share program, or a program called Flow Share. And it's actually where you can essentially rent an electric vehicle by the hour or by the day to get from different points in the city to other points. It's obviously not huge in Penfield, and I don't think that that would immediately be as beneficial in Penfield, but it was an interesting sustainability item in the area to share.
Got it. So bikes and electric bikes?
Specifically electric cars.
Specifically electric cars?
Yes.
Got
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you started with the city, and the first thing I thought about was the bikes that they have. You see at different places, street corners, public market, different places like that. But these are actual vehicles.
These are actual vehicles. They're actually 2020 Bolts, I think. Bolts. 2020 electric cars.
There's a Volt and a Bolt.
I know, and I can't remember.
The Bolt is the smaller one.
It'd have to be Bolt with a
is the
B.
larger one.
Yeah.
Bolt, because
I
they
think.
didn't make Volts in
And that's
2020.
what I thought.
Yeah.
So I believe it's a 2020 Bolt with a B. And there's two different locations. You can start with them, and one of those is actually a Rochester regional. So it's a nice effort for the city moving forward, and
Right.
it's just another sustainable effort in our area.
It'll be interesting to see how that goes, and how well it's received and things like that.
Definitely.
So, yeah, great. All right. Other items of interest, events that we should talk about, think about, look at? All right. Okay. So I'm going to skip item 8 for a minute and go to item 9. There is a proposed meeting schedule for 2022. Essentially, it follows this year. It tends to be the fourth Wednesday of the month, except when we got into December, we pulled that up. Well, no, actually, I think we left it for next year. I think we left it on the 21st. So I just asked the committee to take a look at that to see if that something is reasonable, doable. I think the other thing that we had discussed in the past is that just because we identified these 5 meetings, if we needed another meeting or meetings, we could add those, and we certainly did a couple of those when we were working through CCA. But these would be kind of our standing meetings, and so I'd look at that to see if that works for you. Does typically the fourth Wednesday of the month work for you? And then typically does the 4 to 5 or 5:30 work for you? So something to take a look at. I will say that I know that Marie will be having some broader conversations about who might chair this. I historically chaired this because this was something that I thought was important when I first came into office, to kind of build on some of the things that Phyllis and Sabrina, kind of the official, unofficial designees of sustainability and recycling and some things like that early on. I thought it was important that we kind of built on some of the good work that they were involved with and kind of spearheaded and coordinated. And so I know that Marie wants to go through and look at this group and identify, who might be the next appropriate leader. I don't think Marie is going to be that person, but I know she wants to continue on with the group, and so hopefully those of you, and we don't have to have that conversation now, but if there is that interest to continue on, great, we would welcome that. And if for some reason cannot, we'll respect that fact, and we'll look to replace, any member that we need to add to the group. So just a couple of things to think about. And if you wouldn't mind just, dropping me a short email to say, these dates work, time works, I'm still interested, that would be great. And I'll pass that all on to Marie as we move forward. All right. So to kind of close out, I wanted to just take a minute because this group, we started in February of 2010. I went back and took a look at some of my notes, and I even pulled out, I had this conversation with Phyllis, so I pulled out this now, you would hear formerly nicotine-stained hands. Well, this is just the paper aging, so it might be a candidate for our local history room. But this was the original group of individuals that started with this group back in February of 2010, and Phyllis and I were going down a few of the names that were here. Some of you remember Sue Four, who was with us for a number of years. We had Bob Bumbrow, who was with us and who has since passed away, unfortunately, but Bob was with us until he moved to Irondequoit. Ann McCarthy was the representative from the Penfield School District at the time. Stacy Decker, who was a former town employee, left the town. She worked in the planning department, left the town, and now is an active realtor in and around the town overall. We had Spencer Ward, who was with us, Robin Miller, and so I've added some of the newest people. So Sarah Kloster, now Waterman, Chris Tenay, his first meeting. So there's a lot of history, and if you recall, we had Pat Collins and Russ Rakowski from Monroe County, and both of them have since passed on to the next chapter of their lives and left the county, but they were very instrumental in being here to support us and what have you. So I feel very honored that we put this group together. I'm delighted with some of the things that we did our early on solar activity. Our solar pump station off in Creek Street was our first endeavor, and then we did our big project. We also have a project at Harris Whalen Park on Harris Whalen Lodge that we did from a solar standpoint. We held a number of different events that have helped the community, from recycling, upcycling, confidential document destruction, several of those, and what have you. We're working on sustainability sections of the code as part of our comprehensive plan. And the street lighting project really came out of this group that helped push that along. CCA is a big project that all of you have worked on. So I just want to say thank you for everyone here and everyone prior to you, being here that helped make this so successful on behalf of the town. And I know the work has been recognized by the town board, our residents, and a number of other communities. So for that, I want to say thank you. It's been a pleasure, and look forward to see all the good things that happen here as we head into 2022. So, right, good stuff.
Mr. Supervisor, many thanks to you for, first off, creating the committee, chairing it for the past 12 years, supporting it, supporting this group. Hopefully we can continue to do great things. I think you've set us off on a great start. We've accomplished a lot. You read through all those, and hopefully we can continue to do right by the town, do right by the environment. So many thanks to you as well.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And she's not here, but I know if Maria were here, what she would say. Many of our best days are ahead of us here across the town, so I look forward to that.
Thank you for your leadership. It came from the heart.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Seeing no further business to come before the committee, the December 15th, 2021 Energy and Environmental Advisory Committee will stand adjourned at 10 minutes before the hour of 5 o'clock. Thank you once again. A special thank you to Penfield TV, who captures all this information, sometimes live, sometimes taped, and makes it available to all of our residents for their viewing pleasure and information and updates about what's going on in the town. So, Brian and team, thank you. And as always, be well, be safe. Happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you.